with Todd Romero. I am J.R. Gordon. We're following up that intro by Big Mo. That man always does it right. We are here at Sparta, Wyoming 5 at the Outlaw Saloon in beautiful Cheyenne, Wyoming. Todd, we've got 14 fights tonight, 9 MMA fights, 2 Muay Thai fights, 3 kickboxing fights, including our main event, the title fight that you and Jeff Cisneros talked about. What a way to kick off year number 12 for Sparta Combat.
You know, I was listening to everything you said, but the glare off Big Mo's shoes is so bright that it almost took my attention away.
Hashtag shoe game tight.
You got to go from top to bottom, I guess, you know. Hey, look at it. You know, we were talking about this in the pre-fight show, JR, and around the country with this pandemic going on, there's so many fighters out there that don't get an opportunity to get into the cage. We have 14 fights tonight, and those 28 fighters really wanted to be on this card. There was over 100 applications to try to fight here, and when you get that opportunity, you know, it's great to be able to bring it to the folks at home. The fact that we get to call fights.
Yeah, and you know, you hit the nail on the head right there. They want to be here. They fought to be here. They've been training through this pandemic in order to be ready to be here tonight. So what a great way to start off the year, my friend.
Absolutely, and the state of Wyoming obviously has been great welcoming us up here. Tail of the tape, Todd DeBato. You got to love his first name, don't you? From Inglewood, Colorado, 24 years old, 6 foot, 155. This is his debut. He calls himself a freestyle fighter.
Facing off against Jeramiah Solven, also making his debut. He is the shorter of the two at 5'8", and the elder of the two by a decade at 34 years old.
Talking to Solven, talking to some of his training partners that are up here. They're excited to watch him fight tonight, support him in his debut fight. And again, it's in Wyoming, and the crowd here gets crazy. 14 fights on the card, and as you said, we'll have MMA, kickboxing, as well as Muay Thai.
A little bit of a drive for those guys from Colorado Springs. Usually they're just making the short trip over into Denver, but across the state line we go.
Yeah, I'll be looking forward to getting back into our routine of fighting in Colorado, but boy, the fact that we have a place that's so close. But you know what, as close as it is, it got cold up here.
Yeah.
Across the border, it got cold.
Pre-fight inspection happening outside the cage. There we go. Got some video of it now.
Making sure he's all dusted up, not too much petroleum on him to slide off. You know, you got to make those punches stick.
No hidden nunchucks, no shuriken anywhere.
You know, it's funny, every time you watch a fight, though, and whatever level it is, how much they go through the motions to make sure everything is right. And you got to do that. It's what the commission calls for.
Referee Oscar Martinez finding a little something on the gloves there, in fact.
Yep, and that's what the delay is right now.
Yep.
You can't have any kind of tape that's not down, anything that could cause harm to your opponent, anything that can be seen as an advantage. That's all got to be taken care of.
Yeah, and your fingernails have to be trimmed. I'm not sure if they're looking at his nail length either. Not sure.
And it seems like they've got to adjust something.
Hold on one.
And that's exactly what it is. JR, you're the man on the spot. You have the tool, which is a nail clipper. But listen, all joking aside, that can cause an issue.
Absolutely. It's a scratch to the eye. A fingertip going across the eye, bad enough. A nail, you're scratching the cornea and causing possible, more long-term damage. So Oscar Martinez right on the head of things, checking stuff out.
And the one thing, when you look at the gloves, not always, but when we see eye pokes, a lot of the times they're inadvertent. And when you have that part of the sport with the gloves that are that way, you've got to make sure that everything else around it can inflict no damage as much as possible.
Absolutely.
Our crew on top of that, so we're all pumped up here, but a little bit of a delay, but you got to have it right. Again, 14 fights on the card, and once again, the Outlaw Saloon in Cheyenne, packing them in as we get set for this fight. Highlighted by the main event of Isaiah Torres and Aaron Lopez. Can't wait for the co-main event as well. Great fights sprinkled throughout this card.
Well, like you said, 100 fighters wanted on this card, and so those that made it, man, you know that they're in a special spot.
And I think you take a look at that too. We had 15 fights, 1 fight dropped. You usually see a couple drop means that every one of these guys was ready to roll.
Both these guys debut fighters. We'll see if that delay plays into the mindset of Solven at all. Ready to be pumped up, walk out, make his debut, and then all of a sudden they say, hey, just stand here for an extra 5 minutes.
Every time I hear Jeremiah, it reminds me of one of my favorite movies, Jeremiah Johnson, being a mountain man, always tough, rugged. What a great flick, though. So when I see the name Jeremiah, that's what I remind me of.
Watching DeBato warm up, he just put his foot on the top rail of the cage without even trying. My goodness.
I caught the tail end of that.
Some flexibility and athleticism in that young man.
Look at the corner here. We got some Sparta fighters here in the corner. During the summertime, we're out and about outside. Venue's been great. Unfortunately, the Outlaw was able to provide us with a great indoor venue as well.
And I believe a sold-out crowd here in Wyoming. So thanks all the live fans for your patronage as well as the pay-per-view, folks. Yeah, you talked about the corner of Mr. Solven there. Gilbert Smith, former UFC and Bellator fighter. Hard work, dedication's the hashtag he's known for, was screaming that out during a couple of his fights where he thought that he had been seen as an underdog. It didn't feel that he was, so he got on top and was in the corner with Dana White watching, and he's pounding away with ground and pound, screaming, hard work, dedication. It is a neat moment in his career.
I'll tell you what, he looks like he can still get in the cage, JR.
Yeah,
There's no doubt about that.
Yes, he does.
Telling buddies of mine, if you ever go to an MMA fight, don't ever get in an argument in the crowd.
Yeah, you never know who you're talking to.
Not a good move.
Yeah, you and Jeff were talking about it. These athletes been doing this since they were 4 years old now, raised as MMA fighters, not.
I'll tell you one thing, Jeramiah Solven's put together. So DeBato, Factory X in the house.
Yeah, DeBato in the white trunks. Solven in the black, representing Victory MMA. And as you referenced, facing off against the Factory X fighter.
Matter of fact, Dustin Jacoby's in the house. He's on the card next week. All right, the first of 14 fights tonight coming to you from the Outlaw Saloon in Cheyenne, Wyoming. Todd DeBato along with J.R. Gordon. Here we go.
Referee Tom Johnson brings him to the center. MMA action. Started off 155-pound division.
And right away you see the height difference and the size difference that DeBato brings into here, and he tried it with the front snap kick right away.
Nice duck under in order to close the distance there by Solven. Got the clinch, but DeBato able to bring a knee up the middle nicely.
DeBato trying to switch it around and throwing a series of uppercuts here. Nice knee to the midsection.
Good shots being thrown in there by DeBato.
Solven's not letting go of that body lock, trying to get some control there, but DeBato's not allowing him to.
Gilbert Smith right next to us. He was calling for the knees from Solven, and he did exactly that. Then drops levels, has his hands together. He's going to get this, but DeBato with the turn.
Yeah, changed levels to try to get that takedown, but so far has been unable to secure that.
DeBato going for the inverted triangle. He stepped through, looped his legs. Nicely done by the Factory X fighter. He set that up from a ways out, trying to sit down on it now, wants to come up on his knees, then sit his butt down to the mat, get some pressure, and boy, the ground and pound he can affect from here.
Well, look at the kidney shots that you can put on there when you've got full control with your legs right there. You control the head, you control whatever the fighter is doing below you.
And my goodness, look at the drive in Solven pressuring forward, doing what he can to take the pressure off, and DeBato doing a good job reaching through between the legs and picking the ankle that's going to keep Solven from getting his feet under him.
Boy, Solven right now is in some trouble right there. but he continues to fight away.
Looking to wrap up the figure four on the arm now is DeBato. See what he does, if he tries to turn this into a submission or if he's just trying to keep Solven from freeing himself from the lock.
And Solven wanted to keep that left hand from getting back, and I'll tell you, pounding away is DeBato.
And no quit in Solven this evening, my goodness.
Boy, if he survives this one, boy, that was in tight. And
oh, now
there's got the arm bar.
Solven in a world of hurt
and
here.
He's bleeding from his head. I don't know if that's a cut, JR, or what's going on, but Solven has been in trouble this entire fight.
40 seconds left. Solven surviving so far. Having an answer for everything. He peels the legs free. Well done by Solven.
Yep, and gets the reversal there. Solven now, you see the blood come out on DeBato's short, but Solven, how about that for sticking with it?
And look at Solven immediately picking the ankle, looking to advance position. Boy, he didn't wait a half a second before he thought about doing exactly what he needed to start improving things for himself.
Nice knee shot to the midsection. Boy, Solven doing a great job hanging in there.
And look at DeBato's flexibility there, going for an arm and leg entwined triangle that I got to be honest and tell you I've never seen.
Boy, that was odd.
Wow. What a unique position. That's just a tangled bowl of spaghetti right there, Todd.
Well, I'll tell you what, I may have to use that line sometime, but I'll tell you one thing. You wanted some fireworks to start this fight, you got them.
You and I talked about DeBato putting his foot on top of the cage, showing off his flexibility during the warm-ups. Wow, did he show that as he put in work on the ground, too?
Question is on these fights, listen, as much as DeBato was in control, how much gas did he spend? Didn't seem like he was gasping at all. You'll see how much and how these fighters go on. Obviously, Solven's a little bit gassed there, just fighting to stay alive.
Both these guys put in a ton of work there in round one.
There's the level change right there, hoping for that takedown, but it didn't quite work out the way that Solven wanted it to.
Yeah, he did a nice job getting it on the ground, but DeBato was ready for it, spun himself around, had some momentum to come up on top, and you can watch him fish his legs, looking specifically for that inverted triangle right there. Interesting round. Definitely have DeBato just, he controlled probably 3/5 of the round.
Let's see if Solven can springboard from the finish of that round, coming forward, and see if it stays on his feet much longer.
Yeah, Solven, wanted it on the ground round one. Looks to have a strong wrestling background.
Yeah, that was a nice sprawl.
Once it got on the ground, it did not play out in his favor, so let's see if he changes it up here.
Couple wild punches, but for debut fighters, excellent opening round. Solven trying with the knees there again. That one missed. DeBato with the wild hook. Solven comes in, goes for that inner leg kick.
Oh, a couple of good shots landed by Solven. DeBato's hurt.
Yeah, hit him on, lower mandible shot.
DeBato knocked down by the shot. Let's see if he can flurry to finish here.
Right when you said he was in trouble, he got hit with one more solid shot, and you really saw him go down and buckle.
And DeBato doing a good job of wrapping up Solven. He's taking a few shots from the left hand.
There's that flexibility that's helping him out, but that left hand can propose some danger there.
Looking for the armbar is DeBato. Nice setup. It's a good position for DeBato. Solven needs to pressure down, not stand up. Push down, elbow to the mat.
Solven really trying to sprawl on those legs and do something.
And DeBato trying to go inverted there.
Solven not letting go of those hands, trying to hold on tightly, not to let go of that armbar. He slides that hand out.
Nice work by Solven. Just stayed patient there. Had the position that he needed. Didn't blow a lot of energy.
Didn't panic.
Waited for DeBato to burn out. Didn't panic. And think about it. This is a debut fight for these guys, Todd. My goodness.
That's what's impressive about it. And that's where you know that you came from a good gym and you trained with great fighters.
Wow.
Just about a minute left in this second round. Solven, after trailing most of the first rounds, had control of this round.
And again, DeBato working from the bottom, staying busy with those legs, with the flexibility, trying to wrap something up, trying to keep himself safe from the ground and pound. Good position for Solven here.
DeBato was in a lot of trouble there, and those long legs have been a real big asset for him in this fight.
Yeah, just an unusual grappling style by DeBato. Uses his limbs with a flexibility that is not often seen.
Not any clean shots in that exchange. DeBato's able to avoid the Solven shots. Wasn't able to quite hit him cleanly.
Solven looking to advance his position, half mount, trying to push that knee down, slide it through.
Boy, this fight
and there's the full mount for Solven.
Yep, the full mount there and taking it away, and you've got about 10 seconds left. Now you got to survive if you're DeBato. And right now we go into this one and 1 round apiece, I think, if this one finishes.
DeBato grabs to the heel, just basically enough to make Solven have to defend. Round 3 coming up. My goodness.
Well, I can tell you one thing. Jeramiah Solven's in shape because that first round, he took everything that was coming to him. A lot of that round was spent on the canvas. Second round again, went for it. Surprisingly, DeBato went for that takedown early. I thought he was going to keep it on the feet.
Yeah, and DeBato took a few extra seconds before he pulled himself up off the mat.
Don't think the corner didn't notice that.
For sure. And again, we're looking at a leg entwined position here. It actually looks like round 1. I think this is round 1 highlight here.
There was part of round 2 where he was quickly like that, but I don't remember it from round 2 like this. Of course, it gets meshed in there.
Solven, what an ability to remain calm under duress.
Anybody's fight right now.
What impressive.
And Solven did it with his fists here, and if a little bit worse for wear. DeBato looks a little more winded than I look at Solven.
Agreed.
Solven may want to try to end this as quick as possible. Because look at DeBato looks tired to me, man.
Yes, agreed, and he's hurt there.
Yeah.
Solven knocks him down again just like he did in the second round.
Yeah.
Going to work hardcore with the ground and pound here is Solven.
This one's going to be stopped here soon if he doesn't do anything back. I mean, DeBato didn't look ready for that round.
DeBato,
that's it.
There we go. DeBato just not able to wrap up any limbs that time. Just on the receiving end of too much punishment.
What a debut fight, however, for both fighters. But Jeramiah Solven, after being in trouble in that first round, comes back strong, listened to his corner, and you and I talked about it. For a debut fighter, not to panic when you get in that position is big.
Man, those guys, boy, like you said, talk about putting in the work in the gym. My gracious. What a turnaround for Solven. He was on the receiving end of some bad positioning all throughout round 1, came back, ended it early in the third. Like you said, DeBato wasn't ready to start the third round.
No, and I think, JR, when you take a look back at this fight, the key moment was in that second round when DeBato got hurt. He took another shot. Yeah, he held on and survived, but by the end of that round, he had taken that series of shots, and I don't think he wanted it anymore. We saw him struggle to get to his feet and really come out not looking ready.
Yeah, and when the bell rang for the third round, it happened before we could even reference it. But Solven went about 3/5 of the way across the cage toward DeBato's corner because DeBato didn't even step forward to meet him.
But listen, you look at a debut fight, what do you want to do? You want to learn, you want to go forward, see if this is for you.
Right.
I thought both fighters really acquitted themselves quite well.
Well stated, sir.
Well, that's any indication of what the fight night's going to be like, and we're in for a good one.
Wow.
Solven was bleeding in that first round, and then after that, no more blood. So I don't know if it was just what it was, but he didn't bleed after that first round. So whoever the cut man was did a good job.
I was gonna say some credit to his corner on that. We talked about the experience of that corner.
And you see DeBato still kind of on his stool. I think he got gassed.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Tom Johnson has called a stop to this contest at 20 minutes 53 seconds in the third round. Declaring the winner by TKO, Jeramiah the Great Solven.
Did I catch his nickname as the Great?
The Great. Well, congratulations, Mr. Solven, going home with the victory, and Victory MMA, one more win notched in their belt.
Anytime you take a look at those two gyms, Factory X and Victory MMA, you got to have a little proud when you're walking out of the cage. That's a very good gym that he beat.